I'm first going to talk about true cards. When you're playing in defence, it's very important to play true cards, in other words, cards that don't mislead your partner. When your partner leads, one of the principles you should do is always play the lowest necessary card. You've probably heard about the principle of third hand playing high. That's true, but you should only play the highest necessary card. And that will tell your partner a lot more about your hand, and it won't mislead them. In this example here, West is on lead. They lead the 3 of hearts against a no trump contract. You can see dummy has got the 10 and the 2, and you've got Queen, Jack, 9 and 8. Partner is led from probably from a fourth as a fourth suit. North plays a 2. Which card do you play as East? Now you could argue that it doesn't actually matter which card you play, because regardless of where the Ace and the King are, the 10 will fall on the next time round, and so you're always going to have 2 winners in this suit. But it is important for your partner. Let's say you played the Queen. What does that look like to your partner? So this is what partner sees. They see you play the Queen and South takes their Ace. From West's point of view, it looks like South has started with the Ace, the Knave, and maybe some others. So lowest necessary card is very important. Now, this is what should have happened. You play the 8 of hearts. That's the lowest necessary card. Now, from West's point of view, West knows that you've got the Jack, the Knave, the 9 and the 8. Why? Because if you didn't have the 9, South would have played the 9 rather than the Ace. If you didn't have the Knave, South would have played the Knave, and same for the Queen. South didn't. South played the Ace. Therefore, those other cards must be in your hand. That will mean that when West gains the lead, they know it'll be well worth their while playing the King and going across to your 2 winners. Here's another example. In this example here, where you've led the 3 of hearts, sitting West, North has played the 2, East has played the King, and South has the Ace. Now, who has the Queen in this situation? South, clearly, because if East had the Queen, they would have played it. It's very important, if you are playing with a thinking partner, to play proper cards. Some people say, oh, I want to create confusion and declare as mind. You may or may not confuse declarer, but you will always confuse your partner. Basically, if you want to play a false card, you should have 2 definite purposes, so there's 2 conditions that apply, and that both of these must pertain before you can play a false card. Firstly, you need to have a reason for playing it. In other words, you want to declare to take a wrong view and take a different approach. That's important. It's not just to create confusion. You have a plan. You know what it is you want, how you want to deceive declarer. And secondly, very important, it won't matter that partner is deceived. What happens if you don't do this? You're going to confuse your partner, for sure. Absolutely 100% certain of that. You risk sabotaging the defense, and, very importantly, you risk breaking the trust that your partner has in you. So the next time you play a card and your partner thinks, well, geez, is that a real card or is it a false card? I can't tell. It's very important to play true cards unless those first two conditions pertain. Really important. I can't stress that more. I'm just going to give you an example of one. This came up on a Tuesday night, this exact hand. I was sitting east and I was basically ambushed by my own partner. So what's happening in the auction and in the opening lead? Well, South doesn't have a very strong hand, and clearly no support for spades. And the opening lead should be a fourth. If it's a fourth, then I can use the rule of 11. So I can take I can take 11 or 7 away from 11 to get 4. There should be 4 cards higher than the 7 out. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, okay. There's already 5 cards out. So this is definitely not a fourth highest. It's probably a lead from a short suit. I imagine that my partner I have 7 points. My partner would have 8 points or so in this auction. That they have some sort of tennis in the red suits that they don't want to lead away from, and they're just leading a neutral suit, making a passive lead. So if that's the case, where are the ace and the queen? Well, they're with South. So what card do I play? Remember, the 4 has been played from north. So I can see the 8, 9, 10, knave. So I can play the 2, and that will draw the queen for sure. I don't need to put my king up because that will just help declare her. So we can have a look at the hand, and you can see my partner led the 7. I have no idea why they led the 7, but the South, a delighted South, won with their queen and proceeded to collect 9 tricks without any problem at all. You can see that if they'd led the 5, I would have been able to work out that yes, I need to go up with my king because it's the 4th highest, and then we can take 2 club tricks and 3 heart tricks to defeat the contract. Here's another example. Here our partner's overcalled 2 hearts, just that's natural, over South's 1 no trump. North has put them up to 3 no trumps, and your partner's led the queen of hearts. So where are the points? Well, we don't have much. We have 6. So our partner probably has 9 or so points. And this is the play. Sorry, I'll go back to that. So the queen holds the trick. Next comes the knave, which is won by South's ace. They now play the knave of hearts, spades, sorry, should I say, which goes to the ace. and they play the king, which we might as well take that with our ace. But what do we do now? And how are we going to defeat the contract? Well, we clearly can't defeat the contract from our side of the table. It'll depend on North. North will need to get in to clear the hearts. And how are they going to do that? Well, what's happened in the play? Remember that when South played the knave of spades, West played the king, so they don't have the queen. The queen must be in the south hand. We can only play a spade, a diamond, or a club. Declarer's lead of the king of clubs would be strange if they didn't have the queen, so I suspect that a club lead isn't going to be particularly dynamic, but our partner may have a diamond, may have the ace of diamonds in fact. So I think a diamond lead is called for based on that play. So let's have a quick look, and you can see that my partner false carded. They played the king when they could have played the queen. So let's just have a look at what does that look like from the South perspective. They played the knave, and the king appeared, and they've taken their ace. So from South's perspective, where is the queen? Well, you can't really tell. Now let's have a look at, in this example here, the same is true. The queen's played, and the ace takes the trick, but where's the king? South doesn't really know. But what about East? When the queen takes the trick, it's from the perspective of East. They may well have the king of spades. It's a distinct possibility. So this is it is important to play true cards. Another technique which is very useful is often you have to make discards when you're defending. Maybe declarer is running a long suit or drawing trumps, and you've run out of trumps, and you have to throw something out, and it's often difficult to know what to throw. One thing that can help you is you should try and keep the same length as with dummy. And you should do this even if you have what looks like a worthless collection. I'll give you an example. So this is the following. We're just considering the club suit by itself. Dummy's clubs are clearly solid, but you have to make a discard. What do you do? If you discard a club, then once the ace, king and queen have been run, the 8 will be good. So you discard some other suit to keep that 9 of clubs intact, to look after declarers, 8 of clubs and dummy. So this could be the two hands. So if you can see that if you do discard a club, declarer gets an extra club trick. We talked in Barsha's lesson about unblocking with declarer play, how that was important. It's important, just as important, in fact, for defenders to unblock, but it's actually harder to spot because you can't see both hands. So just a reminder, a suit's blocked when if you have winners in one hand and you can't cash because you're in the wrong hand and you're stuck there. That's a blocked suit. And blocking situations, they're common in defence. They're common in declarer play too. I'll give you an example. Your partner's led the top of a sequence. So this is just considering the heart suit by itself. So the Queen of Hearts is led. North plays the 2 from dummy. So what you play is East. It's very tempting to play the 4 because the Queen's going to force the ace, you might think. But it will cause a blockage. What you need to do is play the King, and then if you gain the lead later on, you can play your 4 of Hearts across to the winners in West's hand. But if you play low, because of the overcall, in this case, declarer will know that you have a doubleton king. And if you play low, they'll know that the hearts are blocked. They can take their ace straight away and finesse impunity into the West hand, because although West can lead a heart, it'll come across to you in the East hand and you'll be stuck there. I'll just show you the whole hand and you can see what I mean. So you can see that north or south as declarer needs to take 2 finesses, one in spades and one in diamonds to make the contract. If the Queen of Hearts is played and you play the 4, let's actually do it. So the Queen of Hearts has played 2, 4, ace. Now, declarer can cross over in clubs and play a diamond. West can take their king, but now when they play another heart, comes across to your king, and you've got no way of getting back into West's hand. And then West can take the spade finesse, which wins, incidentally, and collect 10 tricks. So hold up play. This was another thing that Barsha spoke about with declarer players, to hold up when you have a stopper, and you need to do that in defence as well. So it happens when you've got a stopper in a suit, which is usually the ace, and you don't play it immediately. You hold up to stop the run of the suit, and these situations are quite common in defence as well. Imagine the following. North has bid diamonds on the way to 3-no trumps by South. And at dummy go, you play the Queen of Clubs, which is the best lead. It's a top of a good sequence. Runs to the ace. Your partner has played a 5, which looks very much like an encouraging card, but they've taken their ace of clubs and diamond comes back. What do you do? So you can see that clearly declarer needs to establish the diamond suit to make their contract. But they may not have an entry into that suit to cash. The king of spades may be an entry, but it won't be if your partner has the ace. So what do? Well, you duck. The trick's 1 in dummy, and another diamond comes back. What do you do now? Were you watching what your partner discarded? Let's go back. They discarded the 2 and then the 3. That tells you, or it should tell you, if they've been carding right, that they have a third card, the 8, in fact, is the only missing diamond, which means that this 7 of diamonds is the last diamond that South has. You can take your ace. Imagine that if the play had gone like this. First your partner plays the 8, and then the 2. Now you know that it's a declarer who has 3 diamonds, and you need to hold up your ace for another round. Sometimes it's not the right thing to hold up, and so how do you know that? Well, counting declarers winners is always a good thing to do, and it can tell you when not to hold up. Here's an example. Bidding has just been 1 no trump, 3 no trumps, and the Queen of Hearts is led from partner. They obviously have a sequence in hearts, and the King in dummy wins. Where is the first thing you should ask yourself is, where is the ace? Well, it's clearly with south. That's okay. But the next step is declarer plays the 10 of spades. Before you play to it, you should ask yourself, why are they doing that? They've got this wonderful diamond suit in dummy, but instead of playing a diamond to try and establish the diamonds, they're playing a spade. Why is that? The answer should be that the diamonds don't need establishing. The ace and the Queen of Diamonds are in the south hand. If that's the case, then declarer has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 diamond tricks and 2 heart tricks. That's 8. They only need 1 more, which should be the Queen. So you need to go up with your ace and then play a club across to your partner's ace and knave. Your partner has to have that, the ace and knave, because otherwise your south would have too many points otherwise. Forcing defence. Forcing defence is a technique that is very useful in trump hands, when you're playing against trump hands. And it's where you force declarer to ruff in their master hand. And if you remember Barsha talking about master hands, that you don't want to trump in your master hand as a declarer. You want to trump in usually dummy. But a forcing defence is where you're forcing declarer by running your good suit to weaken their hand. The conditions you particularly need to look out for is that where the trump suit's breaking badly. Now this is something that you will know, but declarer won't. So let's have a look at a deal. Here it is. South has opened the bidding with 1 spade. North hasn't got a very strong hand, and but South has. They've jumped to 3 hearts. North shows preference and 3 spades, and South's gone on to the game in spades. You can see that we've got 4 spades, so our partner probably has 1, or we avoid. What do we lead? Well, hearts, clearly not a good lead. We've got quite a good sequence here, top of a sequence, so we should lead the knave of diamonds. So we do that, we lead the knave, and it wins. That's great. So the ace and king must be with our partner. So what do we do now? Lead another one. But of course this gets roughed by declarer. Next they lead a 6 of trumps. What do? Well, we duck it. Goes to the queen. Another trump comes back. What do we do this time? And our partner shows that. It showed out, by the way. We duck this one as well. Oops, sorry. And now declarer is in trouble. If you just have a look, declarer now can't draw trumps. They don't have enough trumps to clear the trump suit, and you'll be able to force them again with diamonds, and they're going to go down. The best they can do is one light. Here's another example of a forcing defence. Here our partner has opened the bidding with 1 heart. South's doubled. We've gone 2 hearts. Partner's gone 3 hearts, which is encouraging. South's overcalled 3 spades, so they've got a strong hand. We've gone to 4. We've got 4. We've got 8 points, so that's fair enough. And North's put them up to 4 spades. What do we lead? Well, we can't really go past the knave of hearts. But before we do that, let's just have a look. Well, now that we've played it, let's have a go to the south hand. They're going to lose the ace of spades. Not going to lose any hearts. They're going to lose the ace of diamonds. They're probably going to lose a club. So it looks like there's only 3 losers in this hand. So it looks pretty good. But let's see what happens. So South roughs our heart lead. King of spades comes back. What do? Again, we duck. And partner shows out. That's fine. We duck again. And on the third one, we take this. And lead back a 10. And you can see that even though South can win the trick, they can draw trumps with a 10 of spades, which will fill your 6. But if they do that, then whether they play on diamonds or clubs, they're going to be hit with an avalanche of hearts. Again, the best they can do is play their winners and go one light. And that is the end of this lesson.